actually is the lead play in our offense. Yes, our YN or a tight end to open up somewhere between 6 feet and 9 feet. Get an isolation with the linebacker. Tell the tackle to take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, to drive down on the first man to his inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here. Try to run this play in the alley.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. You can find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. I'm joined alongside the great Paul Brettel from the Packers Wire and Dairyland Express. You can find him on Twitter at Paul_Brettel. Got an awesome YouTube channel as well. Paul, what's going on tonight, bud?
Hey, Clayton, I'm doing excellent. Like I always say, always very, very happy to join you. One of my favorite conversations each week. And the way this season has gone, I never know quite what the tone of these conversations are going to be, because it's been some high highs and some low lows.
I tell you, that's the beautiful thing about the NFL. I mean, it seemed like everyone started off kind of skittish. You go and win in Chicago, and it's like, oh yeah, we're ready to roll. Then you hit that little spurt, the little downtick. We're back in the dumps. Get rid of Jordan, fire Matt, get rid of everyone, right? And then all of a sudden you go on a little run, you have some success, and it's, oh yeah, we're back again. And next thing you know, it's get rid of Christian Watson, get rid of it's like, what a roller coaster of a season. But hey, man, the one question we wanted answered all year long, Paul, was, do we have the quarterback of the future, right? Mm-hmm. And here we just discussed offline what we were going to talk about. We're already off cuff, and that's just how we're going to roll, I guess. I'm feeling more and more comfortable with Jordan. I know there were some other stats that kind of dropped today, and when you kind of look at him compared to the past, how are you feeling about Jordan? Forget Paul Brettel, who is the professional, for a second. Yeah. Give me Paul Brettel, the Green Bay Packer fan. How do you feel about Jordan? Do you think he's the guy for the future?
I do absolutely think he's the guy of the future. Coming into the season, throughout training camp, all that stuff, you got glimpses of, what where the potential could be. And obviously there's been a lot more consistency from it. And I know there's been some tweets this week showing his efficiency from a clean pocket, his efficiency on deep ball passes. Like, that's what good quarterbacks do. When they have time, they pick apart the defense. They are able to take advantage of downfield passing plays. And the Packers, they've gone through a gauntlet in the last few weeks, starting with the Chargers game, not Detroit, but Kansas City, New York, and Tampa Bay. Those are all defenses that blitz a ton. And for the most part, credit to the offensive line, who has held up well again for the most part. But there's been some throws as well where Love's had guys in his face, and he hangs in there. That I think it was the pass interference on Jaden Reed down the right sideline. Pressure's in Love's face. He's hit as he throws, and honestly, that was one of the prettier deep balls he's thrown this season. And it was incomplete, but drew the pass interference, but hanging in there under the pressure. So, I mean, as each week goes by, he's checking the boxes, and I think the most encouraging part for me is checking those boxes and with this team. And that's not to downplay who they are or what they've done, but first time starting quarterback, absolute chaos around him for a portion of the season at receiver, on the offensive line. Like, the run game's improved, but it's not as if they've had this dominant run game to lean on each week. The rookie receivers, pass catchers have gone through growing pains, going down, taking the lead, the defense gives it back, then you got to go down and take it again. Like, there's just been a lot going on with this team this season that, there's a lot of first-time starting quarterbacks out there that wouldn't have appreciate you, Jim, that wouldn't have handled the pressure and just everything that this season has brought, and not just handled it, but he's getting better as the year goes on. So yeah, for me, checks those boxes. And I know obviously expectations shift as the year goes on. You see, we're in playoff contention, and that becomes the new, goal, new thing you're chasing. But Remember, we rewind back to August. What was priority number one? Figure out whether or not, obviously you hope he was, but figure out whether or not he's the guy moving forward. And based on what we've seen, he's the guy moving forward.
I completely agree. Very well said. What Paul was referring to there, for those of you on the pod, Jim in the chat says, must have at least one guy with the glorious Wisconsin accent. Of course, he's talking about me, right, Paul?
Yeah.
Right? Let's see here. Mike Hebring in the chat, kind of breaking down some of the PFF stuff. He said the Packers have 5 players on offense with season-long PFF grades of 70+, minimum of 100 snaps. Zach Tom, 79.5. Jordan Love, 77. Dom Wicks, 76. A.J. Dillon, 74.6. Jaden Reed, 70.2. Wicks has got me very excited, very, very excited when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. Let's back up and punt here a second, Paul. We wish the Buccaneers had punted a few more times there in that game on Sunday. Maybe just, what did they have, 2 punts? 1 punt? Is that what it was?
I think it was just one.
One, yeah.
One in the turnover.
Maybe if we just had 2 punts. All right. Now, but what do you think about kind of looking back on the Buccaneers game? Obviously, the defense has been the main headline there. I imagine that's the direction you're going to go in. But what's the first thing that comes to mind when we think back on that Bucs game before we bury that game ball?
Yeah, so I'll head down that path. I'm not going to talk specifically on what we saw against the Bucs. We've all talked about it. We've all seen it. All been able
over it.
all been able to hopefully digest it at least to some degree. But as far as the Joe Barry and that situation, so I have 2 kind of main thoughts on this. So the first, and I'll just kind of start with what, he spoke to us today. And I mean, just the feeling of, first off, he took, as he should, and as he does, he took absolute ownership, said that everything that went wrong falls on his shoulders as the guy, as the defensive play caller, as the guy drawing up the game plan. But it just sounded like someone who knows, like backs up against the wall. And for, all the other ups and downs that have occurred during the Joe Barry tenure, like this time had a different feel to it. And he even admitted, he came out right away when asked just how this week has been. He said it's been tough, and it's been tough for his family as well. So just definitely a different feel coming off that game than, again, the previous, miscues that this defense has had over the last couple seasons. But, what I'll say is when an offense comes out of the gate and they are able to move the ball and have success against the defense, that's the sign of not the best game plan that you put together.
Absolutely.
You didn't have the answers for how you thought they were going to attack you on that opening script. When it's the third quarter and they come out of halftime and they're moving the ball, they're putting up points, that shows us a lack of adjustments. When we're in week 15 and we have to really stop and pause and think about which defensive players are playing better football now than what they did in week 1, that shows a lack of growth, shows a lack of development, and ultimately all of that falls on coaching. And I do wonder, obviously hindsight's 2020, but, and this is just me pontificating on this, I don't know if this plays any sort of factor, a little bit, whatever it might be. But as we look back on the Joe Barry hire, I do wonder if it was one of those, as the old saying goes, kind of round or square peg, round hole. Because Matt LaFleur said that the style of defense that the Packers have, that's what he wanted in Green Bay. Right. It's that Vic Fangio style. It's not as if Joe Barry is a Vic Fangio disciple. He did not come from that coaching tree. He's been in the league for 20 plus years. He's got his, made his way with Tampa Bay when they won their Super Bowl, the Tampa 2, came up under Rod Marinelli. Like, his experience in that coaching tree or that system is 1 year as a linebackers coach under Brandon Staley. And Staley was under Fangio. And of course, every coach is going to put their own twist on what, even everything from the same tree. But that was his experience coming in and then being asked to run the defense. And again, I have zero idea if this has any bearing, but when you look at that, where, what LaFleur wanted, where Barry's previous experience was. And then you look at Sunday's game, everything I just mentioned, the game plan, the lack of adjustments, the lack of growth, the miscommunication, all the stuff that we've seen, sometimes it'll disappear for a little bit, but it eventually comes back. That's teaching. That's the actual coaching part of it, the teaching part of it. And so I do wonder if part of that is, interconnected, just bringing in someone who, again, he's an NFL defensive coordinator. Of course, he knows the system. He knows how it's supposed to operate. I'm not saying that, but
Paul. People on Twitter says no. They know to that.
But there's the relaying of that information. You can, just because you know something really well doesn't always mean you're the best at teaching that to someone else, to have them go out and act on it. The other thing I'll say is, obviously Barry draws most of the fire for what's taken place, but I'm looking at Matt LaFleur as well. And not because, there was the conversation of should Barry even be back for the third season. I'm looking at Matt LaFleur for the day-to-day, the week-to-week of all of this. Joe Barry is not going rogue on Sundays with something completely different than what he told Matt LaFleur he was going to do.
Right.
Matt LaFleur is signing off on this. They're talking about it. Matt LaFleur said when they came into this game, they were going to play a ton of their quarters coverage like they always do, because they're going against Mike Evans. They had Eric Stokes in his first game back in 13 months, a 7th round rookie. Your safeties, Rudy Ford, Jonathan Owens, and you're going against Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. On paper, how they're phrased, here's how we're going to go about defending the Bucs, makes sense. Mm-hmm. So that's part one of this. Every week, everything that we see out the gate from Joe Barry, Matt LaFleur is signing off on. I think we all need to remember that. Number two, as the head coach, when you see your defense consistently playing way off, setting up easy pitch and catch opportunities for the offense, you got to step in. Is being the play caller and having them to 100% focus on what the defense is doing, is that realistic in a game? I would lean towards probably not. That's a lot on Matt LaFleur's plate. However, at the end of the day, you're the head coach. You're responsible for this. You're the CEO of this operation. If your sales department is struggling, you have to do something to course correct. And again, that's a lot on his plate in a game when the defense is on the field. I imagine there's conversations being had with the offensive position coaches, with Steno, about their own adjustments they're going to make. But when you see the defense getting gashed like that, maybe you don't have a specific answer, but there has to be some communication of, we got to do something different. And so, of course, Joe Barry's the play caller. He's the one ultimately teaching the position coaches, who then have to relay the information to the players. There's a disconnect there because, again, Joe Barry can't be in every single position room meeting throughout the entire week. He needs his position coaches to do some of that heavy lifting for him. So I don't know where the breakdown is from Barry to the position coaches to the players. It's probably all of the above. That's the thing too. When things go as poorly as they did on Sunday, it's everyone. It's everything. There isn't one person to blame for this. So again, it's everything. And I just wanted to shift the conversation a little bit towards Matt LaFleur as well, because he's the head coach. This is his team. This is his defense. He's signing off on the game plan each week. And, he said he's going to be a bigger part of the defensive meetings this week in terms of making sure everyone's on the same page from a communication standpoint, all of that. So we'll see, like you said, after the game, they're searching for solutions. I guess we'll see what kind of solutions are found.
Yeah. The big thing that stood out to me as you were explaining that with Matt LaFleur, obviously there a couple of weeks ago when Carrington Valentine didn't get the call from the far side, that got communicated, where he just decided to play off because he didn't know what the call was. It amazed me how many people took Matt LaFleur's post-game comments, mainly fans, obviously, but took it as, him saying, yeah, we can't do that in that situation. Like, oh, he's calling out Barry. He's telling Barry. It wasn't what he was saying. He was alluding to Carrington didn't get the call, right? Mm-hmm. Without saying Carrington didn't get the call. Obviously, Joe Barry spills the beans shortly after. But again, there's no two ways about it. The lack of communication, it comes back on the coaches. We had we had Mike Wall on yesterday with us and interviewed him. He used to play offensive line for the Packers, and he's tend to kind of lean toward, you got to put some on the players too. Like at some point, you're talking about day one install stuff. Like when they lined up in the quad look and they motioned that quad over to make it a 2x3, and Quay just kind of shifted to the middle of the field and shaded toward Evans's side, who had a safety over the top and had a corner playing down under inside technique. It's like all of you literally left a 3-on-2 on the opposite side of the field. And I think that's what Barry was kind of talking about with kind of filling in rotation. But again, it's not hitting home. That's the one thing we do know. The message is not hitting home. So it's. I think.
Did you watch the quarterback school with for Baker Mayfield up against the Packers?
Not yet. Everybody's telling me I got to go watch it. What was your takeaway from that? He does a great job. JT O'Sullivan's awesome.
He does. And if you're looking for a bunch of one-liners, that's the place to go. He has a bunch of one-liners about Barry and the Packers defense. I think even refers to him as the Fighting Joe Barrys at one point. But to your point, there were two or three plays that JT was referring to where he goes, this is just math. And it resulted in big plays. And you're trying to be mindful of Mike Evans, but they have 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. And there's 4 Packers on the side of the field with 2 bucks,
right?
And 2 when there's 3 bucks. And that was just kind of the common theme throughout the game. I think it was 2 or 3 different plays that he pointed out through that game where that happened.
Yeah, definitely. So let's bury the game ball. We're moving on. As Belichick once said, we're on to Carolina. He actually said Cincinnati, but we'll say Carolina. Let's talk about this Carolina game. I'm glad we hit on that, though. We're already way over on time of the normal point we get to right here, but that was good stuff, Paul. Carolina, what are the keys? Offense, defense, all the way across the board. I don't think anybody in this fan base is overlooking Carolina. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about a trap game in New York. Nobody's talking trap game now. It's maybe we're the trap game for Carolina. But how do you see this thing playing out? What are you expecting? I know you like to take the week in advance and really start digging. You're writing multiple articles. What stood out to you?
So for the Packers offense, I could see this being a week where they're already finding success, but to really continue building upon that. For one, they're going up against a defense that they see in practice every day. Ejiro Evero, the Panthers defensive coordinator, runs a very similar style of defense. Like I mentioned earlier, every coordinator is going to have their own wrinkles in it. But in terms of the core of it, the foundation, it's similar to what the Green Bay Packers offense faced throughout training camp and OTAs throughout the summer. So there's familiarity with that. And of course, like I said, Evero obviously knows that. There's probably going to be some changes, wrinkles that he adds to it to try to catch his Packers team off guard. This is still an NFL defense in a vacuum against the run. They're allowing just 4 yards per carry. I think that ranks 11th. Against the pass, they're allowing, I believe it's like 6.1, 6.2 yards per pass attempt. That ranks 10th. So again, they've shown that they can hold up in each of those instances. They are allowing almost 25 points a game, which ranks near the bottom of the NFL. But to a degree, I think we can chalk that up to the issues that the Panthers are having on offense. I mean, as Packer fans, we saw that, through the early middle portion of the season, how not having complementary football, and when your offense is going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, just the stress that puts on your defense. So this is a sound defense that they're going to be going up against this week. But I do point to that familiarity aspect of it, as I do think that's a factor. When there's familiarity, there's comfort. When there's comfort, often that can help lead to success. So in terms of Matt LaFleur and what he's dialing up from a game plan perspective, play calls and how to attack, that defense in specific situations, kind of having maybe a better idea of the inner workings of it. Jordan Love, the pass catchers, knowing, where they might tend to be in certain situations, how they might defend certain routes. Again, goes back to some comfortability, and, hopefully that leads to this offense taking off, because while they've moved the ball well, they've struggled in the red zone, especially as of late. They've had 10 visits to the red zone the last 2 weeks. That's really, really good. They've had 5 each week. For some perspective, I think the Cowboys are leading the NFL this season in red zone attempts per game at 4.2. So Packers are averaging 5 over the last 2 weeks. So that's really good. But they've only punched it in a total of 4 times. So even while the defense is taking a lot of the burden or the fire, the last few weeks, and understandably so, the offense, if they're able to come through on another occasion or two in the red zone in each of those games, changes the complexion of it. Maybe they win, maybe they don't, but it changes the complexion of it. And so I think that's where we really need to see the growth from this unit. And I asked Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, Elton Jenkins. I wrote about it over at Packers Wire, so I wanted to get a variety of takes on what's going on down there. And Matt LaFleur's previously talked about how the run game in the red zone is really, really important to have that to lean on. As we talked about, it's been hit and miss for the Packers this season, and even when it's been good, hasn't been dominant by any means. But the common theme amongst LaFleur, Love, and Elton Jenkins was just the execution, and the execution in terms of how defenses are playing them down there and just better handling what defenses are throwing them in that part of the field. So I'm looking at the red zone offense in particular to see if they can get going this week, because the Panthers are allowing red zone touchdowns 72% of the time, worst in the NFL. So they don't allow a ton of opportunities each game, but when they do, there's a high likelihood that offenses have punched the ball in. So that's where my eyes are going to be, on the offensive side of the ball. As far as the defense goes, I just want to see how they respond. I mean, that's the
right.
That's the big thing. Just like, he talked about in the red zone, it's execution. Devondre Campbell, Keyshawn Nixon, JJ Enagbari this week. That communication point that Matt LaFleur hammered home on Monday, like, that's been at the center of, you can tell, all the defensive conversations that the Packers have had this week. And there was, I'm not sure if you caught this, but Matt LaFleur said that on Monday they had an open, he called it an open forum meeting for the defense, where they were able to, say what was on their mind from a play calling scheme, whatever it might be. And Devondre Campbell said on Wednesday in the time that he had with us that, are these issues fixed? He said, we'll see, but they're working towards it. He said that they feel good about the game plan that they have this week. And there aren't going to be any drastic changes from this Packers defense. Like, Joe Barry said that today. And, you can understand why. Like, it's week 16. This isn't going to all of a sudden look like, the Steve Spagnuolo Chiefs defense where, they're blitzing a ton. You can't just turn over a defensive system in that small of a time frame. And also, too, if you're still having execution issues and communication issues on what you've been working on all season, probably not good to dive into something completely different either. So don't expect any sort of massive change. I think what, changes you hopefully see is, again, the communication, the execution standpoint, not so passive in terms of off coverage in, shorter down and distance situations. Maybe not going out in dime coverage on the opening drive when it's 3rd and 3.
Might help.
I was watching. When I was on the radio on Monday, I brought that up because that was the Bucs opening drive. It's 3rd and 3 or 4. They're in Packers territory. I see Devondre Campbell go off the field. See Anthony Johnson go on as a third safety like he does when they're in dime. And unfortunately, it just kind of set the tone for what the rest of the day was. But those are the changes, the differences that you hope to see. Maybe, less 6 defensive back looks when it's 3rd and 5 or fewer. Your cornerbacks, your safeties not so far back and playing off coverage. And then a lot, like we talked about, it's just going to have to come down to the players going out there and executing. So I'm just curious to see how they bounce back, how they respond, because as poorly as things have gone the last 2 weeks for this defense, like, this is not a good Panthers offense. This is like, if there was ever a get right game for a struggling defense, like, this is it. And
say it, Paul.
If they can't do it, then the conversation that I think everyone was waiting for this week is going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's one of those things too. Like, we've heard all year long. Hopefully the connection's okay, guys. I see we're having a little bit of issues on my end. It's not on your end, Paul. You sounded crystal clear, but mine's a little bit wonky right now. You continue to hear about the defensive backs playing so far off, right? And you've had Jair came out and said, I think Sewell said it last year, that they give the DBs freedom to play where they want to play. And it's like at some point as a coach, and kind of back to Matt LaFleur, like as a head coach, you got to say, okay, enough. Let's tighten up. Let's tighten this thing up, right? And it just seems like Barry always takes the flack for that. But like you said, it's getting signed off. It's just I'm glad you went in that direction. That really kind of puts things into perspective for me, though. But anything else you got, Paul, before we let you go, bud?
No, those are the big ones.
We appreciate your time. We went over, and I apologize for that, but we always love having you on. It's a great conversation every week. We always learn a ton, and look forward to it next week, buddy.
Yeah, thank you, guys. I appreciate it as always. Take care.
All right, have a good night. Again, that's Paul Brettel on Twitter at Paul_Brettel. You can find him at PackersWire.com and also writing for Dairyland Express. Have a good night, Paul.
Take care, guys.
All right. So good stuff there from him always. I love how Paul just comes in and tells you the facts, and he says it with a calm voice, that doesn't make anyone want to break anything, right? So I know I've seen the chat lighten up a couple of different times here when we were talking on the defensive side of the ball. I like what Robert Allen says here. How about throwing in a slot blitz once in a while? Isn't it funny how it was? I think it was week 1 we ran a slot blitz, and it just disappeared, right? You just stopped. It seemed like you never went back to it. You got to have those kind of adjustments throughout the season. There's no doubt about it. Man, I tell you, I see you, STN. I think a lot of people sympathize with you, man, for sure. But as the season goes on and you see kind of how things unfold, to me, it felt like the adjustments, if there were any that took place, the adjustments were kind of in the opposite direction of, okay, these guys can't handle what we're asking them to do from the complexity standpoint of the defense. You're still blowing coverages. Let's vanilla it up even more. I think that's how you end up with the product you got there. And I'm hoping that when they do make this change at DC, that these problems just magically disappear. I just have a hard time believing that guys are just going to all of a sudden stop blowing coverages and become tackling machines, right? Let's hope it happens, though, for sure. We're now joined by Tim there in Green Bay. Tim, I don't know how much of you got to hear about Paul there, but always good stuff from him, kind of laying out the Carolina game coming up, but also talking about the week that was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. But how you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing good, man. Yeah, I caught most of Paul Brettel. I'd say a good 95% of it. So good half a page of notes. Always good info from Paul, and appreciate him taking off the reporter hat for a little bit today and just kind of fanning out with us. That was really cool. Little change from the norm. That was about as candid as you're going to get, right, from a professional like Paul Brettel, and we really appreciate that. I know you do too, Clayton.
No doubt about it. I love to get the fans' perspective. That's the perspective I'm coming. I've had people message me on Twitter and tag me and comments on the YouTube channel going, "Oh, you're such a homer." Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I'm a homer.
See my background?
Case, surprise.
No way.
Fans. We are Packer fans, but I'm showing that we've got a real bad connection. Can you hear me okay, Tim? Is everything okay on that
I
end?
can hear you.
I think you just look a little blurry.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. As soon as I say that, the bars just filled back up, so maybe come back in. But how you doing, Emilio?
I'm good, fellas. How are you, Tim? Oh yeah, with the sharp haircut. I see you, Chris.
Yeah. I got my ears lowered.
Everybody talking about it. You got Chris in here. You got United Bates. Tim got the wig, whack, looking fresh. Man, do I still got that? I don't have that dancing video anymore. We could key that up of Tim.
Oh man, that's a classic.
Okay, you got it saved. It's somewhere. It's somewhere on the hard drive here, but we had to clear up some memory.
Can't go see Grandma on Christmas without getting your hair cut, right?
Hey, amen to that.
Handsome for Granny.
Amen to that. All right, let's do this. Let's kind of do a quick rundown. Before we do, just want to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of the show. Really excited about this partnership moving forward. BetUS is the official sports book of Packers Total Access Live. You can get all of your any kind of action you want to put on a game, whether it's you're betting the money line, just straight up, a team with a win, or if you want to bet against or for the spread, they've got all that. They've got prop bets galore, all that good stuff. If you guys want to support the show and it doesn't cost a dime, if you'll click on the link in the description of this video, you can register as a BetUS customer. Using that link will actually put us in better standing with BetUS as far as their partnership here with the show. Now, when we talk about the line this week, it opened up, according to PFF, at 4.5 points. Basically, the Packers were 4.5-point favorites. I checked earlier today, and BetUS now has the Packers at 6-point favorites. Okay, so if you wanted to bet on Carolina +6, and then of course Packers, you're laying 6 there, unless you want to go with the money line. One thing I like to do too with the prop bets, you guys know I've talked about. This is a prop bet I placed earlier, and these are the type of really cool bets that you can put on BetUS. In the game tonight, I took a bunch of unders and just put a big parlay together, right? So basically, Kyron Williams of the LA Rams, I had that he'll have under 2.5 receptions. I had Matthew Stafford of the Rams will have under 1.5 passing touchdowns. Tyler Higbee of the Los Angeles Rams will have under 2.5 receptions. And then Rashid Shaheed of the New Orleans Saints will have under 2.5 receptions. I coupled all those together, and with a $5 bet, got a chance to win $95 on that little get up there. Okay, so just to kind of explain in real time, that's how you can do prop betting there. Again, never bet anything that you can't afford to lose, not even a dime. Okay, that's how we feel about that here on this show. But as far as the prop betting and all that, tonight, every one of those bets you've seen, I use PFF Edge to find what they refer to as their best bets. And I thought, you know what? It's $5, right? Let's throw a little parlay together, see if we can win a little change. So
what's a Big Mac,
Yeah, absolutely. BetUS, the official sportsbook of Packers Total Access, celebrating their 30th year in business. We appreciate them jumping on board with us. Now, let's talk about the standings real quick, guys. When it comes to the Packers here, yes, we're still holding out hope here, right? I will go down with the ship. I'll be playing the violin on the Titanic. I ain't afraid, because I'm just telling you right now, boys.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs?
I will, Coach Jim Mora. I will talk about the playoffs, my friend. So the way it sits right now, Minnesota's got the 6th seed. LA Rams have the 7th seed. They're playing right now against the Saints, right? The Saints are sitting in the 9th seed. You got Seattle there with the same record in the 8th seed. And then you drop down another notch. You got the Atlanta Falcons at 6 and 8 in the 10 seed, and the Green Bay Packers in the 11th spot at 6 and 8. So essentially tonight, if somehow, some way, the Saints can beat the Rams, right, I feel like that puts you in the best position possible, simply because, at this point, you just got to win out. We all know what's happening there, right? We do have the tiebreaker with New Orleans too. So when you look at it from that standpoint, if the LA Rams do beat the New Orleans Saints, then we would have that tiebreaker edge over the Saints, to the best of my knowledge. You still got Atlanta flirting around there with the NFC South, and we know the NFC South's been a crapshoot this year. So just to kind of give you a quick glance, tomorrow we will give you an update on what games you're going to want to watch for this weekend, okay? That'll be kind of what we'll be doing tomorrow, and give you guys an idea of who you might want to have rooting interest for. But, guys, there's still a chance. Believe it or not, there's still a chance. I think I seen something that the New York Times playoff simulator, if they went out, I think it was Matt Schneidman that posted it. If they went out, I love how Tim's trying to be professional as he's having a conversation. I love it. Yeah, Tim, you've got to stop trying to beat, buddy. Listen, this is
I'm distracted. I'm trying to get the game on in the background. My wife's bringing me something to drink.
Daddy soda.
This is what I want, though, dude. This is just 3 Packer fans talking ball. Don't ever feel like you gotta be like,
I already dropped something.
You look like this. I love it.
I gotta aim my remote across the room to get the TV to do what I want it. Sorry.
If I had to turn mine off because I'm going blurry up here, I don't know what's going on, man. I got to make sure that Mandy paid the internet bill here. I just got back into town earlier today, so this is the first time we fired the old system up.
Well,
cold, a little rusty.
Yeah, you should have warmed up the glow plugs there, Clayton, before you got it going.
Glow plugs.
Running that diesel.
Tim knows all about the glow plugs up there in Wisconsin. But
that's the truth.
Yeah. Hey, funny story, man. We were in a holler. That's right, a holler. I said Southeast Community College in Kentucky. Okay, so you got this beautiful little community college, and it faces this deep holler right there in Cumberland, Kentucky, where I'm from. And I went up there to one of my buddies, Papaw's house, right? We went up to visit his Papaw, took him some food and stuff, went to the store for him. And I look over and I see somebody building a fire underneath a truck. And I'm like, are they trying to set this truck on fire? What are they doing? And I'll never forget his Papaw with a blackest cup of coffee said, oh, no, they're just warming up the oil pan. Like the oil was that thick in that old vehicle. They built a small fire underneath the oil pan. I'm like, man, one of the 1,000 times that I said, I got to get the heck out of this town. I got to get out of here. Got to get out of here. So anyway, as you read next story of the day, Jordan Love, this is kind of a cool statistic. You're starting to see more and more of this stuff pop up, which is really exciting. NFL on CBS tweeted out most passing touchdowns over their first 15 starts for Packers quarterbacks. Brett Favre had 20 over his first 15. Aaron Rodgers had 25 passing touchdowns over his first 15. And Jordan Love now has 26. So just another statistic where Jordan is right there in the same ballpark with both Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I actually kind of smoked Brett in this statistic, although I know we would all agree that kind of a different era, right? They were running a lot of I formation, a lot of pro set, that type of stuff, a lot of 21 personnel. Now, obviously, as Brett got more comfortable, they started spreading things out a little bit more and opened up that West Coast offense a bit. But pretty cool stuff, Tim. You're seeing it more and more. I love Paul. Did you hear Paul's take when I asked him as a fan, is Jordan the guy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love it. And I got to shout out my buddy Tony too, man, down in Milwaukee. Us guys have been making the trek before I moved up here plenty of times. And we've been screaming J Money's the dude for the better part of the last 2 years. So that's not a self brag. It just makes you feel good when you start to see the pros agree with you and you start to see J Money backing it up with his play. So, he's long overdue for an opportunity like this season. It could have happened arguably a year sooner. And just to see him coming out like this after, he had a bit of a struggle early there. We dropped 4 in a row. But man, as he bounced back and just really proud to see what he's doing right now. And when you see stats like this, it just really makes you smile, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it does, man. There's no doubt about it.
You kidding me though, Tim? You're a pro. Don't sell yourself short. You ain't gonna curse.
I'm an effing pro, man.
We got to get that, man. Y'all had the 2 best quotes of the year, I swear. SDN40 in the chat says, just looking to cook up some squirrel, talking about that fire. Carly's in there going, I can't believe this redneck. And then Red Mo gets it. Red Mo said, got to thin that oil, man, or it won't flow well. Been there, done that with my bike.
See?
There you go. See? There you go, man. Yeah, look at this. STN said, I watched Coal Miner's Daughter, so I know what a holler is. It's not holler, it's holler. You got to put I don't know, the ER is very controversial today, but I will say you got to put the ER on the holler, okay? Mm-hmm. If you guys remember, some people are going, why are we talking about Coal Miner's Daughter? If you watch that movie, and it's one of the I will get disowned back home, and I'm just being honest, can't stand the movie. Depressing as hell, right? Just one of those, like, I don't understand why anyone would want to watch it a second time. But there's a scene where they go into a little store and they buy like some bologna or something, right? And that little store, that building still stands today. It's about 10 minutes from where I went to high school at. So that's yeah. I was not born a coal miner's daughter, but I knew many coal miner's daughters, if that makes sense. Some of you guys are going, it is 2023, Clayton, so you can is what it is.
Only for a few more days.
Exactly. Well, there you go. Yeah, we're about to turn the page. Emilio, what do you think about this, dude? You still feeling good about J Love? Yeah,
he's the dude. He's the man. Let him run this team, man. It's awesome to see it. Like Tim was saying, it's he's been calling for it, and like he calls him, he's got number 10, right? Because all he throws is dimes, Tim.
That's right. They gave him number 10 because he only throws dimes.
So let's keep giving him the opportunity to throw those dimes, man. That's awesome,
bro. That throw to Reed, I've watched it on loop. Oh my gosh!
And it's like what I'm excited about is going back through at the end of the season, kind of picking them out. There's it's not going to be 3. It's going to be double digits. You're going to try to thin them down. We can probably do a talk on just ones that we were drooling over. So it's cool to see, man. It really is.
That's something else that's going to be on the schedule for the off season is going back and watching our favorite plays from the season and breaking them down. Just kind of reliving that. That'll be a lot of fun. Chewy_GB Dad. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. Appreciate you. He says, having hope that my last third of my life, I will see another great quarterback that should continue to win the North is a good feeling. Yeah, we were kind of heading into a dark time there, Chewy, where people were saying, "Oh yeah, you're about to find out what it's like to not have a solid quarterback." Here we are, and I love people tweeting about it too. Goody's done it again. My favorite, and it's the one I've begun to steal and use too, is from Breaking Bad, where he looks over and says, "Someone cooked here." It's like, yeah, Goody cooked here. He found number 3. It seems like. Now listen, consistency is what separates the good from the great, right? Can he consistently do it year in and year out? I think he's got the mindset for it. I think his teammates love him. Yeah, I think we got a lot to work for there. And again, we've already hit that floor that we talked about going into the year 6 to 10 wins. We're already there. Now we're kind of playing with the house's money. If somehow, some way you squeak into the playoffs, my goodness, what a year. But nonetheless, you've got the question answered. Okay, we've got our quarterback of the future, at least as it sits right now. And you can begin to build the roster around him. This receiving core, man, I know we've talked about it pretty much every episode for the last 2 weeks, but you can't say enough about that young core, man. They're just phenomenal. But again, Chewy, thank you so much for the super chat, sir. We appreciate you very, very much. Let's see here. Luke Musgrave, this is kind of cool. Sorry that it's a blurred screenshot. I'm trying to get that straightened out. It's a resolution on my camera or my screen. Basically, my screen is like 4 feet wide because I'm old, and I was like, yeah, I want that. Well, it changes the display ratio, so that's why you get some of these wonky screenshots. But Matt Schneiden tweeted out, Luke Musgrave, who lacerated his kidney in Week 11, has been designated to return. He's not practicing, but his progression to play has started. Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Devondre Campbell, and Darnell Savage not practicing. Elton Jenkins returned after missing yesterday. So the big news there, Luke Musgrave, I think that opened up the 21-day window, essentially, if I understood correctly. I heard, now it says here he did not practice, right? He's not practicing. I guess that means in a full capacity. But I think Coach LaFleur at his presser earlier today was talking about he's out there running routes and catching balls. So, Tim, Luke Musgrave, man, we might see a little Luke down the stretch here. Imagine if we do somehow, some way squeak into the playoffs, and then you got Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft ready for the playoffs. That would be absolutely awesome.
I mean, I think that's exactly what's on his mind, right? If we win Sunday, man, it could be a real possibility. I'm really stuck in this tunnel vision, man. I'm looking for a Christmas present from our Packers this weekend to keep the playoff dreams alive. That's right. I got the blinders on. La, la, la. Don't want to hear about nothing else. But no, man, certainly. And if we could start getting not just Musgrave, but some of these other guys back, I see Emmanuel Wilson with the shoulder is, starting to kind of come back into the fold, which helps us. We have banged up running backs right now. But Musgrave would be huge because if you get, you talk about running some 21, man, I can't wait to see him and Kraft on the field at the same time. It'd just be phenomenal.
Definitely. Yeah, it's especially with them getting more experience, right? They're going to be
12 personnel.
Well, that's it.
Not 21, 12 personnel.
No, I got you.
Right.
But I don't know. You could put Tucker in it at the H if you wanted to, too. He's kind of versatile in that regard. But go ahead, Emilio.
No, I was just saying, you said it there, the experience. Musgrave got to go the first half of the season. Tucker's been tearing up the second half of the season. They both got starting reps. They both have seen, different plays, different, experiences. So it's awesome to see. Like you said, Musgrave is a dog, though. If he played through a lacerated kidney, he's going to want to get back on the field. Him and Tucker were sitting there studying together. Tucker's got that mindset. You don't think that seeps over? They are out there working, man, and it's awesome to see that we have just this amount of youth and this amount of just energy ready to kind of go.
Yeah. SDN in the chat says, what's the jumping off point for negotiations for love negotiations? Sorry, 35 million per year ? It's funny, the roller coaster that is the NFL season. When we seen him perform after those first 2 or 3 weeks, I was saying, lock him up. You can get him on a deal right now, right? And the longer you wait, the price is going to go up. He hit that slump, played really bad, like a 4 or 5 game stretch. And I was sitting there going, well, I'm a moron that I was willing to do. And now here we are again going, oh, crap.
Lock them up.
It's going to cost us so much money. But I don't know. I mean, you'd have to go. I'm not prepared for that question, SDN. Maybe that's something we can do for Good Morning Lambeau tomorrow, kind of look around the league and go, okay, who got paid what? I know this. Daniel Jones absolutely broke the bank, and they regret the heck out of that contract. Right. Now, I'm not suggesting the Packers would regret a contract given to Love. It's just, the market's set. It is what it is. So you may end up having to pay that much. The key is going to be to approach it. You got to be 100% confident he is the guy, right? And if he is, then you approach it the Mahomes route, where you give him a long contract. You've got so much flexibility to be able to move that cap hit around.
Which may play to our advantage, because Jordan Love seems like the kind of guy that years might matter as much, if not more, than dollars and cents at the end of the day. Yeah. He's probably looking for a long-term commitment from the Packers. Yeah. I don't think you waive a 4 to 6 year deal in front of them casually. I think you got to build something. It's a win-win for everyone, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't see Jordan playing super hard ball when it comes to the money. I think he wants a commitment and know where he's going to play football for the long term.
Right. Then if it works out, you could maybe work out just 2 contracts instead of trying to chase down the third at the end there. So
that's a good point too, right? Maybe
do 2 bigger ones instead of 3 littler ones, and it might help us in the long run there.
There you go.
Emilio for assistant GM, man.
Yeah.
Hey. Man, I would clean the toilets in Lambeau.
Right.
I'll be honest, man.
I'll go out there and mow some stripes if they need me to, or we can keep the turf, but
I'll grow a mustache out like Emilio's dad, and I'll be in there. I'll be in there cleaning pipes, whatever I needed to do, man. You know how it is. I can't grow a mustache like I've told you guys 1,000 times. If you ever see me grow out a mustache, whoo, it is creepy. Would not be allowed within 100 feet of a school. Guarantee it. Red Mo in the chat. Even if Jordan didn't have the stats to back it up, his growth has been undeniable. Some lows too, but that's inevitable. I think that's very well said. Just based off what we've seen, although I am a big stat person, I think I would agree with that, Red Mo. If the stats weren't as gaudy, and let's say he had 5 less touchdowns than he does right now, I'd probably still be looking at some of the throws and looking at how he kind of moxied up and some of those game, with the game on the line type situations, and probably feel very similar to than I do right now. It's definitely undeniable.
Right.
Yeah, really cool.
Well, even to that point of Red Mo's there, the growth for the offense in general has been kind of undeniable, and it's been cool that we've seen it that we've seen it come about. The problem is we've been upset about the defensive growth. So I'm happy that the offense is flying. Let them keep flying. We'll worry about the defense when we worry about it. Let the young dudes ball out. If they want to go up and put up 40 burger, then the defense wouldn't really have to worry, right? So we'd be fine if they just go out and do that. Let the young kids eat.
Yeah, and as far as the defense, maybe we can catch lightning in a bottle with a higher light B flow, right? And turn it around that quick with less than household names. I mean, they do have a Daniil Hunter. I know Packer fans like the dog on Daniil, but Daniil's having a great year, in my opinion. Just on the surface. I haven't dug too deep, but it seems like every time you turn around, he's sacking the quarterback. So he's doing his part there on the edge. And obviously they're running kind of a hybrid approach with their defense. People think they just play primary man. That's not the case. They play man and zone. Doesn't matter what defensive coordinator comes in. You're going to see a combination of both, right? It's just some of the same mistakes that continue to happen with the miscommunication, man. Joe Barry said it today. He took full responsibility for it, and rightfully so. If they're not communicating well, yes, it's on the players like Mike Wall pointed it out, but, what are we teaching? It just kind of shows a reflection of how good or bad of a teacher you got in the building. Doug in the chat said, and he's been putting his share of, quote, need to perform to win and won some and lost some. Cool customer and seems like a good kid, talking about Love. Very well said there. Can agree with everything. Red Mo says, same here, Jen. Then the boys have looked very unrookie at times. Can't wait to see them with actual experience under their belts. That's the thing, too. Like, this offense is only going to get better as time goes on. Chris in the chat, where's Watson at? It was supposed to be less than last time, 3 weeks. We'll kind of get to the injury report here in a second, see if he has upgraded any at all. Carly Ray says, I don't let the Packers win or loss result affect the other areas of my life. But if they don't win this week, well, that'll be a real challenge. Yeah, very well said. Again, I'm kind of, my mindset is we hit that floor, right? Okay, we got over that hump of 6 wins. If there was a chance we only won 5 games, I know it sounds silly, just a 1 game difference, I'd be sitting there going, okay, do we get the right head coach? Like, I would really be saying that. But the fact that you eclipse that 6 win mark, anything from this point forward, I think is a stepping stone in the right direction for sure. Let's go to the injury report real quick, guys. I know it released earlier. Obviously, in the bold lettering here are what changed. Okay, so let's kind of talk about just the changes here because we don't have time to read all 32 of these players off that are on the list. Elton Jenkins yesterday did not participate. Today he was limited. Okay, so he upgraded a bit. Yesterday, Caleb Jones had a sick foot. He had a foot and an illness, so he had a sick foot. He was not listed.
COVID toe.
Yeah, COVID toe.
I didn't know it was coming back around, man.
Video's gonna get flagged on YouTube just because we said COVID toe. Oh boy. So Caleb Jones with the COVID toe did not participate.
Well, we've said it 4 times now.
Yeah, there it is.
Luke Musgrave, go all in, boys. Go all in. Luke Musgrave, kidney. It's just wild seeing kidney on the injury report. Not listed yesterday, did not participate today, although he was catching some passes they set off to the side. So that's the only thing that changed today. So as far as our boy Christian Watson, did not participate yesterday, did not participate today with the hamstring injury. So, I've got to be real. If he doesn't practice tomorrow, I don't think we see him in Carolina. Have you guys heard anything different as I kind of comb through here and see if we can find any other injury news?
Not that I've heard, no. I don't know about Emilio, but that, I would agree with that statement 100%, Clay. If he's not practicing tomorrow, I don't see him going Sunday.
Yeah, I don't either, man. I really, really don't. And you know what?
Which again, though, if we're talking about the push, right? Let's say we get a win, and we're talking about needing these guys to come back. I would think Scoot falls in that category too. That maybe we hold them out. And get them as close to we can because, it's win or go home once the playoffs start anyway. I mean, it's win or go home for us right now, regardless if you think about it. But we've had endless conversations about, being 100% versus being 70%. And is it worth it to put a guy out there? So I don't know. I think time will tell, though. But, yeah, if he's not on that practice field tomorrow, man, I would bet that he's doubtful for Sunday.
Yeah. Doug in the chat says, Matt Schneidman says, if Jair can play, this would be the week. I guess Charlotte is his hometown, ? It is. He is from North Carolina. Schneidman, the comment he made the other night, and we played it here on the show, he said something along the lines of when he made that comment about him not traveling to New York, he said, bookmark it. There's a reason I said that. That's the thing that kind of has me clinging to, man, I think there is something behind the scenes. But whether it's because of his hometown or what, if Jair makes his defense better, and I think we all agree he would, get him out there. I don't care. Whatever the homecoming. Throw him a damn parade, Emilio. Get him on the field. We need this dub this week, right? So
yeah, he can invite his entire family. I don't take up the whole side of the stadium. Let's ball out, man.
If you run a Jair Alexander highlight reel, you will see some of his best highlights are in a white jersey. I mean, he's played a lot of good ball on the road. And this is a get right game for this defense. And Paul Brettel touched on this, about the fact of how is this defense going to respond? Mm-hmm. Joe Barry, this lack of communication, that execution, this, whatever it is, it's bad talk about you guys and your defense. And at some point, enough is enough, or at least you hope someone in that locker room or multiple guys in that locker room have that attitude. So, hopefully we get as many pieces back as we can. I'd love to see Jair play this Sunday. I'm sure I'm not.
There it is, Tim. White jersey, right?
Yep.
My man.
There you go.
Was it a white jersey? I couldn't tell. Me see it. Yeah, you're right. It was. You're on loop. We need a. You know what I mean? We got.
You know what? We need a pick 6 from John Money and some new some new sound bites.
Ooh, I like that call, Tim.
We always get good sound bites from Jair. You're never gonna be disappointed after a win with that guy. So
we should mic him up.
The best with him.
We should mic him up for the game. Let's get one of the NFL, sideline mics.
I don't know, man.
My knee.
About one of those mics.
I keep thinking about that time Cobby was wearing a mic pack and ended up taking a shot in the chest and coughing up blood.
Oh yeah,
from the mic pack going into his sternum.
Oh, it's right.
He's playing football.
I forgot about that.
You know what though? I mean, you would think the further we advance with technology, man.
Don't start this, Tim. Don't start this.
Those devices will get smaller, right?
Give him one of them earbuds.
I get so aggravated over this, man. We can hit an asteroid, light years away with an object the size of a Volkswagen, right? And I can't get service in the airport on my phone. I'm like, what are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing? Listen, I'm not an intelligent man. You could tell by the accent, but there should be smart humans on the face of the earth that could figure some of this stuff out.
I'd rather them zip tie a GoPro inside the helmet.
Ooh,
my man takes a shot wearing an 87 Magnavox battery pack and he's talking up Florida. It up like that off the turf. Like what
all next year's prime games are going to have someone with a GoPro. Bet here, Tim called it already. Someone's going to have a GoPro in next year's prime game.
Maybe we can do better than zip ties though.
Right.
There you go. I like that too. Carly Ray says, "Got to make that a ringtone." That would be great.
Imagine.
Oh yeah. I wish there was ways that we could pop it in here when someone becomes a new member. It would just automatically trigger. Wouldn't that be awesome? That'd be great. I don't know. I think I'd be over abusing this one right here.
John Deere Green.
Adjusting that hat. You see my man with that Stetson.
Oh man.
All right, we're off the rails. I'm back in the studio for one day, Tim, and we're already unprofessional again. Let's do this. Let's talk about Joe Barry as we wrap up here. Let's end it on a
positive note. Yeah.
Positive.
All right. Positive. So Rob Demovsky tweeted this out. I tweeted out a large portion of his press conference just so you kind of, I feel like the reporters do a good job. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes you can take one quote. Not that Rob did this. I think Rob's tweet's perfectly fine. But you could take one quote and you feel like, oh, that was kind of the message, right? That was the vibe of the presser. And then you go watch it yourself and you're like, man, that was totally different than what I expected. But he tweeted out, Packers defensive coordinator Joe Barry, quote, "This week was particularly hard on me, hard on my family, but this is the NFL. This is what you sign up for. We deal with it. We had a bad game. I have to be better for our guys. I put that on me. Anytime we don't play well, it's on me." Now, there's still people out there trying to suggest that Matt LaFleur is covering for Joe Barry and it's costing him the locker room, and Devondre Campbell was pissed off at Joe Barry, right? That they're still trying to feed that narrative that Devondre Campbell was talking about the coaches in his tweet. It's all but been confirmed that he was ticked off at the fans coming at him for having a bad game, right? Playing hurt. Rob Demovsky tweeted this out, said, Devondre Campbell's social media comment about not playing hurt anymore. Barry called him, quote, an absolute warrior, commended him on his leadership on and off the field, quote, I have the utmost respect for that guy, and he has my 1,000% complete support. So can we please stop talking the nonsense, guys, that Devondre Campbell was talking about Joe Barry? And then they said it was about LaFleur too, right? He was taking a shot at the coaching staff. And then he comes out yesterday. We shared the tweet yesterday where someone shared the quote in the locker room, basically said, Matt's my guy. Matt knows what he means to me. Matt LaFleur is the reason he came to play in Green Bay. So anytime we get a chance to smack some of that false narrative around a little bit, we're going to do it because it's just ridiculous, man. And the fan base was just so disgusting yesterday, man. So disgusting. People, again, today, as soon as he said, it's been a rough week for my family, immediately in the chat that they went again. What a crybaby. What a little this, what a little that, words I can't say on a pod, right?
Yeah.
It's like they're the same tough guys, though, that the second something goes wrong in their personal life, they're on Twitter complaining about, oh, I need sympathy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Constantly.
Yep.
And it's also like it's disheartening because we talk about criticize the play, not the player. Like when we break down film or things like that, you can be critical of a player or how you're playing out there, but you don't want to drag someone. And it's the same thing. You can think we need to make a change, and that's what you say. We need to make a change at defensive coordinator. You don't have to scream, fire this bum and, all of this. And the guy's got family here. People have eyes and ears. Everything is beamed into our smart devices every 10 seconds. Show a little class, but, social media is probably not a place you're going to find too much of that very often.
No.
And you know what? I believe someone in our chat, I think it was yesterday or might have been this morning, was saying that, it's the vocal minority, the loud minority of fans. And that's true because not all, but a lot of these social media type fans, they're not here. They're not as invested, and I guess that's where that casual term comes from. If you want to casually just pontificate and cast your judgments, but you're not really invested in the team or learning or understanding or cheering this team on. You just want to feel like you're right, or you want to jump on the bandwagon of some, popular narrative. I think those are the loudest ones.
It is completely.
For sure.
You can see it on social media too. Like they know that if they say something, attacking Joe Barry and piling on like everyone's piling on, that it's going to get a bunch of likes and retweets and jokes and this and that. So, do your thing,
What do they want? Like a candy for doing that? Like I don't get
attention.
Like, yeah, well,
you're
attention. Sitting there beating dead horse for 3, 4, 5 days, weeks on end. Like you're taking it from on the field, like Tim was saying, to off the field. Like you're making it personal. Imagine all of us just sitting around, sit there and just berate him for doing a bad job.
And if we win out and we only give up 2 touchdowns the rest of the year, these people will still not shut up. They'll still want him gone. I think we know it's beyond the point of no return right now, right? Like,
let's interview them when they leave work, right, Tim? Let's see how their job performance was today.
That's what I'm saying. Watch them lose a job and have to walk home and stare their family in the face, basically with the look of "I failed you."
Mm-hmm. And then,
I guarantee they're the biggest.
We'll be right in the backyard, ready to interview them. Lights on. Hey, man, so tough day at work. You lost a job. How does that make you feel?
It's crazy, man. Crazy. I get why the media is doing it. The media has to do it's their job. I just don't understand the fans that want to continue.
Well, the media's job used to be to report. Now now they construct narrative.
Yeah.
So,
and if it doesn't fit, right, Tim?
That's right.
Jen right in the chat says toxic nonsense train. Absolutely. Eric Sutherland, he's got a theory here. He says, I still blame it all on the owners.
Who do you think you are? I am.
The hell do you think you are, Eric? You ain't blaming me, buddy. You see that piece of paper back there? You see that?
Mm-hmm. Over yonder.
I gave them $200 and they said, here's a piece of paper, buddy. Thanks for supporting us. Yeah. That's what that is. But I'll tell you what, I love that stuff, man. I love it.
Hope you like the new scoreboards, guys. You're welcome.
Yeah. Hey, that was on my dime, guys.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Hey, look at this. We got a surprise guest. Miss Carly Ray in the house. Carly, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, you guys. I had to jump in because you guys were talking about something that I feel really strongly about. So I couldn't stay out anymore.
Hey, let's shut up and let Carly have the floor. Talk to us, Carly. Tell us why we're stupid here.
No, it's not that you're stupid. It's that you guys are right on the money as far as people just, I think the core of it gets down to people just when they have a keyboard in between, they don't see the humanity of the people they're talking about. And so they're not really seeing them as people. They're just this image, this icon, and they make their actions their identity and judge them on the basis of this identity that they have assigned to them. And that's why we have crazy people like that in every single fan base. And I want to think that the Packers fans are better. And I think that we are in some way, but not everybody. So we just have to be louder with our, reason. Like you said, Clayton, yesterday, I think it was like, we got to be louder in encouraging and being positive and not listening to the naysayers and just speaking truth out there.
Yeah. Definitely. That's the only way to handle it. And ignore them and refuse to acknowledge it, refuse to engage with it. I think I had to block. I was sitting on the runway getting ready to leave Florida today and had to block 3 people because they just wanted to literally jump in a comment on a tweet and just attack me. It's one thing to say, hey, man, I disagree with that. But it's another to go, you're dumb. Hey, listen, big guy. I'm like, oh, okay. You're going to knock on my door and call me dumb. And then you're going to screenshot me blocking. You go, look at this softy. No, you're the softy because you'd never say it to anybody's face, just like these fans wouldn't say these things to Devondre Campbell that we showed yesterday.
They're not. I can tell you that right now. There's none of that attitude in reality walking around. The scuttlebutt
Sign this hat, please.
Right, that's it. Yeah, they'd be drooling if they saw him in person.
Oh, yeah. And Dre is our Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee for a reason, okay?
Yeah.
So, like,
think about that, man.
I think Devondre knows that too. That's why he addressed that. He put that on Twitter. That's for Packers Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
was what that tweet was for. I truly believe that. He knows the community here and the fan base, locally here, at least in this area, is there's none of that nonsense. Are you kidding? These players are royalty here, and you're right, Clayton. They wouldn't say that within earshot of any fan like that, let alone Devondre himself. So
that's not the dude.
That's not the dude. Like I said, incapable of BS, man. That guy is, no flash, all substance, 100%.
Yeah. Chris in the chat says Campbell was talking about us. Unfortunately, we deserved it. You know what? I'll take that. I'll take that for the team too, Chris. If it means me, pretending like I was saying those things too, just to say I'm wrong. Hey, as a fan, we need to be better. If that helps fix the problem, I'm cool with that,
Right.
And I know he wasn't saying us specifically. I'm just, kind of speaking in general.
That's how it is though, right? Because, one person can make everybody look bad. Yeah. It's like that in the business world. It's like that in a lot of things in life.
One person ruins it for the whole class, right, Tim? Now you can't go out for recess.
That's right.
Hey, I would never forget, man. My cousin, God love him, God rest his soul. He's passed away now. He was a wild one. I'll just say that. We were on a baseball trip. We were traveling out of town. We just got on the bus, and he got in trouble in school earlier that day. I won't say for what reason, but it was pretty bad. And we get on the bus. Carly said, I'm done with this. Thanks, Carly. Appreciate you coming.
Off the rails.
She said, I ain't got time for this. We get on the bus, and everything gets quiet, right? And you could tell Coach Morris was just like so ticked off, man. And all of a sudden, he stands up and he sprints to the very back of the bus where – I won't say his name, but where he was. And he puts his finger right in his face and he says, we're thinking, oh, man, he's going to – and the only thing he said was, it only takes one turd to ruin the whole bunch. He went back up and sat down. I will never forget us laughing in the back of the bus. Like, did you just say turd? Did he just call you a turd? But as soon as you said that, it takes one to ruin it for the whole class. That's what I thought. Coach Morris, it only takes one turd. So there you go. There's another redneck story for the night. All right, let's do this. Make sure we hit everything. I think we got everything in. I wanted to mention this real quick as we wrap up. This is kind of cool. Packers Vikings are staying on Sunday Night Football next week. There was rumors that it was going to be flexed. Barry Jackson at FLAS Sports Buzz on Twitter said, NFL has decided there will be no changes to the Week 17 schedule. Dolphins-Ravens will remain at 1 o'clock on CBS and will be aired in parts of the country. League decided not to flip the Dolphins-Ravens with the KC and Bengals game at 4:25 on CBS. The Packers-Vikings will remain at the 8:20 p.m. on NBC. So, SDN, you hit the nail on the head, buddy. Bang. Packers equals viewers. They said, nope. The Packers could be 0-17 going into that week, 0-16, whatever it is, 0-15, and they're still going to have people watch that game because it's the Green Bay Packers.
Mm-hmm.
So, there you go. Just thought I'd put that out there because there were rumors about that. I know some people were making plans to maybe attend that game, but
that's going to be awesome. The last thing we're going to do in 2023 is beat the Vikings.
Let's go.
And then bam, Happy New Year, Victory Monday. Boom, let's go.
And you know what? If they do lose that game, you've already got the champagne. It's flowing, right? You just go ahead and finish strong. Right?
I can tell you with 100% certainty there is no way I'm charting that game, Clayton. There's no way.
You can chart it, but it's going to look like
I won't be able to read it.
Yeah.
look like a 3-year-old with a crayon. That's what it'd be crayon. Just
Be like the guy
Be writing like
the
that
guy
with
boat.
I love it. Man, I love the chat too. As soon as Carly got on here or whatever, she said, "Sorry, my internet went down." Whatever, Carly. You heard me telling a story from Kentucky, and you said, "I'm out of here. I got to fold clothes or something. Get away from this brain damage." I love how, as we were talking all serious about Joe Barry a second ago, we got into a big conversation here in the chat. People talking about Dan Devine's dog getting shot back in the day. So here we go. Deadfish says, just looked up the story. Devine's dog was shot, but it was because he would not tie him up, and he continued chasing a farmer's chicken. The farmer warned him, but Devine ignored him.
Now, you want to talk about a redneck story.
Hey, there you go. Brown County, baby. So here's the thing. Break out the mason jars is what SDN says. I like it. Those city folks were drinking out of mason jars. With that Dan Devine's dog thing, that rumor got spread around a lot throughout history that a Packer fan, they wanted Dan Devine gone so bad that they killed his dog, and it was really his dog was loose on somebody's property.
Even before social media, man, a narrative can take off, catch on real quick.
Absolutely, man. They wanted him gone quick. Man, I'll tell you what, you lose some chickens back home, that dog. I love dogs. I've got 3 myself, but that dog ain't making it through the night. You cost me a chicken. That's how they look at things back home, right? Emilio knows all about that. Right, Emilio?
Yeah.
How many chickens you raised in your life, Emilio?
Probably 20, 25. Maybe.
Have you really? Are you BSing right now?
Yeah, no, I did it.
Oh,
sure.
You are BSing?
Raise them up, the little ones, and then
so full of crap, dude.
I swear.
All right. I refuse.
I'll send you some pictures. Pictures.
I was gonna say pics or it didn't happen, bro.
Sure. All right.
There you go.
I raised them city chickens, them rotisserie ones down at the grocery store. That's what I grew up on.
Catch them on Tuesday at Costco. You get them
65%. 65%. That's what.
You get 65% off. What a million?
Real problem's keeping those mountain chickens reined in enough to get them thick. That's the big thing.
Absolutely, man. You got
mountain chickens are built like me, right?
Yeah,
a little bit leaner.
You're quick too, Tim. I know you're fast, man. I know you're fast.
I think we've got footage of Tim. We're going into the future here. This is going to be Tim charting that game on New Year's Eve.
Нет, скажи за Россию. За Россию. Пью за медведя. За Россию. Россию только. За Россию.
Clay, that's going to be us at the Bears game.
There you go.
That's going to be us trying to chart the Bears game.
I'm still waiting for someone or us to get some kind of penalty on YouTube that guy's saying something absolutely horrible and we have no clue what he's actually saying. So we got to be careful with that. Emilio, that's a bad idea, posting that or showing that there, buddy. So, all right, let's get out of here, man. We've done nothing productive in the last 15 minutes. Mandy's downstairs watching live going, I can't believe I'm married to this idiot. But parting thoughts, Tim, what you got for me, bub?
Oh, man, just looking forward to ball. I get a little bit of anxious, not nerves, but just anxious for the game because, I'm a defensive dude and my boys didn't look so good these last couple of weeks here in crunch time. And I'm ready for a get-right game. And, Paul Brettel touched on this earlier. He talked about Carolina's red zone defense. So this could be the perfect scenario for our defense to get off because we know Jordan's going to move the ball. This offense is going to move the ball. If we can get tutters every time we're in the red zone, go up 2-3 scores in this game, I think our defense plays solid and keeps a lead and we get this win. So I'm just looking forward to football, guys. I can't wait. And Christmas, of course, but mostly football.
Yeah, it's a great time of the year for sure. Dakota in the chat says, I've raised many a chicken. I know you have, Dakota. We can hear it in your voice, buddy. He said, and hogs and horses and dogs, right? Eric Sutherland said, can't blame the dog. I'm getting the owner. Hey, I kind of like that mindset myself there, Eric. And then Carly Ray says, no, in Green Bay, you got those, quote, city chickens, pigeons.
The pigeons.
Yeah. We got those mountain chickens down here with the squirrels. So But Emilio, parting thoughts, man. Quit talking about this stupid stuff.
Yeah. Like Tim said, hopefully we got a present right under the tree, a nice Packers win over Carolina. And I really did love everything Paul was saying, especially, bringing it back to the team is a team. Matt is the top. And it's a kind of a pyramid going down. So either way, the top has to answer, or they got to, come up with plans. If Vince, we had the video of Vince drawing up the offense, but I'm sure he was in there diving into the defense. It's not like we're just leaving them out to dry. And you just got to kind of be able to disperse that wealth across the team. We love that the offense is growing and improving. I just kind of want to make sure that we kick some over to the other side.
Yeah. What it's going to get into here real quick, guys, is as soon as this season's over, whether you make the playoffs or not, I think we'll probably hear Joe Barry has been, let go. It may even be something that he's demoted, right? It's very rare that happens. I don't know if it's happened in the last 20 or 30 years, to be honest with you, but there's a chance you could demote him to linebackers coach, something like that, right? Kind of that happy medium. Some people are going, no way, out of the building completely. But it's going to be fun to dive into in the offseason when they do decide to go to a different defensive coordinator. Is it going to be a new scheme? If it is, we'll be here every step of the way, kind of deep diving that scheme and going through and looking at, okay, what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses, things like that. So I'm excited about it either way. But appreciate you guys in the chat. You guys and gals were absolutely awesome. Want to give a special shout out to Chewy. Thank you for the super chat. Also want to say congratulations to the -- Packer fan. Hadn't heard from the other winners, so that's going to be your jersey there with the.
He was asking for it earlier in the chat. He goes, "Send me, swing me the jersey."
Yeah, so #1 Packer fan, do me a favor, man. Email me, okay? I know you messaged me on Twitter. If you can email me, that would be great. Email me at packerstotalaccess@gmail.com. Send I'll explain in there, but you basically want to send a screenshot of your YouTube homepage that'll basically show, okay, this is legitimately my homepage. It's the only look that, the only person that would have that screen grab of your homepage and the things it'll say on that homepage will make sure that, okay, that's definitely him. That's just the way we got to kind of keep people from stealing other people's jerseys. And I know Jeff won the Dorsey Levens jersey. It should be on its way, buddy, so you should have it soon. We'll try to come up with something else to give away here real soon. We got some stuff in the bag over here. Couple things. I think we got an Antonio Freeman. We got another Paul Hornung. Ooh. I got a David Bakhtiari autograph.
Uh-oh.
We'll be giving that one. Emilio's like, let's set up a couple fake accounts. So, anyway, we're out of here, guys. Thank y'all for putting up with our nonsense. I'm glad that we can get on here. Look, Eric Sutherland again. Congrats. #1 rig. There you go, man. Hey, get used to it, man. You keep complaining, Eric, I'm going to take you off the ballot. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. No, you can't do that. He's PTA Mount Rushmore. You know that.
No, I'm just saying some people got that just now.
Right. Yeah.
Emilio said, I got it.
I got you.
All right. No, but we appreciate everybody in here again. It's good to get on here and just cut up with you guys. I'm so glad to be home so we can get in here and actually be productive like we weren't tonight. But anyway, thanks everybody in the chat. Like I said, thanks for the super chat there. For those of you listening on the pod, thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack Go.
The power sweep actually is the lead play in our offense. We ask our YN or our tight end to open up somewhere between 6 feet and 9 feet. Get an isolation with the linebacker. Tell the tackle to take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, to drive down on the first man to his inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here, and try to run this play in the alley.